Welcome to my social media channel. This is Mark Anderson. In this episode, we're going to discuss how to gain control over your life and over your circumstances. I'm going to use the analogy of drivers versus passengers. And I'm going to ask you, which one do you think that you tend to gravitate toward? I think it's going to be a fun episode, so stay tuned. And when you were a kid, did you ever take a long road trip with your family? If you did, you probably sat in the back and tried to keep yourself entertained while you were on the road. You weren't necessarily concerned about the weather conditions on the road or whether there was any traffic. You probably sat in the back of the car and pondered philosophical questions like, are we there yet? But however, when you become an adult, you tend to pay more attention to what's on the road. You're more concerned about the conditions of the road, whether it's raining, whether there's any ice or snow on the road. And you're also concerned about whether there's any traffic. So that's the difference between drivers and passengers. Drivers tend to try to proactively react to what's on the road, to adjust before something happens. And whereas passengers are just carried along by the circumstances of life, and they tend not to adjust based upon what's happening to them. And that's the difference between success and failure quite often, especially when it comes to business. So I'm going to give you some key tips about how you can improve and gain control over your life and over your circumstances. And the first point that I want to make is that you need to react quickly to a changing business environment. Whenever things happen that you weren't anticipating, you need to adjust your assumptions accordingly. For example, on this channel last month, at the beginning of the month, I said that the market had been going down for 3 months, and I thought that it might continue to go down. However, that turned out not to be the case. And I even said so at the time that things might turn around. Well, that's exactly what happened. The market turned around and got extremely hot in the month of November. So I had to very quickly shift my focus from more of a bearish mentality to more of a bullish mentality in the short term, based on what the market was showing me. And that's what you have to do. You have to change lanes based on the circumstances that you're facing. So in the market, it's very important that you maintain flexibility and not try to get into arguments about what the market should be doing. The market's going to do what it does, and your job as a trader, if you were in trading in the stock market, is to get in line with what it's doing and try to profit off of it. Same thing if you were running a restaurant. If your customers wanted you to have a certain food item on the menu, you would probably adapt your menu in order to fit their needs. You have to adapt to a changing business environment, and that's what drivers do. But passengers, on the other hand, they tend to get carried along by the circumstances. They don't adjust. They get into arguments with the market about it should be bearish. The economy still doesn't look good. We're not sure what's going to happen next year. That can be a very unprofitable thing to do, and it can cost you thousands of dollars when you argue with the stock market. And the same thing if you're running a restaurant. You can lose clients if they're asking for a particular type of food and you're not willing to serve it to them. Eventually, they're just going to go somewhere else where they can get what they're looking for. So you have to adapt very quickly and try to meet your customers' needs. Now, the second point that I want to make is that you have to adjust your plans when unexpected events happen. Let's say that you had negotiations with a certain type of business, that you were going to maybe do a joint venture, and then something fell through, something unexpected happened, and you had to pretty much abandon your plans. At that point, you have to readjust what your strategy is going to be. You need to take some time and think about it and re-strategize what you're going to do. Or maybe you launch a product on the market and it doesn't do as well as you thought it would. So you maybe had an original launch plan that you wanted to follow, but you may have to adjust it based upon what's happening. So that's what drivers do. Drivers will adjust their speed according to what's happening. They will account for those unexpected events and they will take it slowly when they need to, so that later on they can go faster after they've adjusted their plans. Whereas passengers, as I said, they tend to look out the window. They're not really concerned about what's going on, these unexpected events. They just tend to look out the window and be unconcerned about what's going on in their business. And quite often, they don't discover the true things that are going on in their business until it's too late, until all their customers are gone. And then they wonder, where'd everybody go? Well, they probably had signs that were telling them that their customers, that they weren't meeting their customers' needs, but they didn't react until it was too late. You don't want to be that person. You want to adjust your strategies and to account for unexpected events. Change your speed as you need to, go fast, go slow where it's appropriate. And then the final point that I want to bring up is that you need to embrace change as it happens. That's very, very important. So, what does that mean in terms of drivers? Drivers are going to endure the obstacles. Drivers are going to endure the traffic that they have to in order to get to their destination. Sometimes, as you know, things can happen on the road that you weren't anticipating. Maybe a thunderstorm comes out of nowhere when the forecaster said that it was going to be clear blue skies all the way. Well, you're going to have to adjust for that. You're going to have to embrace that change rather than arguing that those forecasters always get it wrong. Passengers, they just tend to complain. They complain that, well, it's not going the way I wanted it to. Things aren't happening. Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Asking why questions isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to embrace the change and figure out how you can overcome it and how you can get to where you want to go. Always keep your eye on what your goal is, regardless of what comes your way. So as we wrap up this video, if you have found any information in this video helpful, please like this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can get all the latest videos. Additionally, if you haven't read a copy of my book, Forgotten Secrets of Passing On Generational Wealth, you can pick up a copy of it on Amazon today. It is my sincerest desire that the information contained in this video and in all my videos and in my book can help you to improve your life. May God bless you. Have a wonderful day.